But moving on, there's some incredible research being conducted here in New Jersey. Monmouth University researchers are tracking sharks along the Jersey shore. Joining us now is Keith Dunton, assistant professor at Monmouth's biology department. Keith, welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show.
Hi, thanks for having me this morning.
Tell us about the research you're doing with sharks along the Jersey shore.
Sure. So we're tracking and tagging sharks along the Jersey shore. Most of the research that we're doing involves land-based shark fishing or around land-based shark fishing, and that's fishing for sharks directly from the shore using surf poles. And we are tracking and tagging them with these little acoustic transmitters like this one here, where we surgically implant the shark with these little tags and trackers, and we can then track them for up to 10 years. So they're released. It's kind of like a little easy pass system for sharks. So a receiver that we put out in the ocean, they can then get monitored and tracked. And these receivers are all over the coast, through the Gulf of Mexico and through Canada. We're also tagging sharks with these little satellite transmitters, a little bit different than O-Search, where they're called pop-off satellite transmitters. So they get tagged with the shark and towed behind, and then they get released, and then we can then figure out where the shark's going from there.
Oh, cool. So, Keith, let's put up some pictures of you and your team working. Now, some of this stuff looks pretty dangerous, and you said you guys you fish for them right off to the shore. So, yeah. Do beachgoers have something to be worried about?
I mean, the thing to recognize and realize is that sharks are here, and they've always been here, and this is their environment. This is where they live, and this is where they like to live, especially the sharks that we catch, which are sandbars and sand tigers. They really occupy that area close to zone chasing fish. So it's just important to recognize that sharks are always here. They typically sense us before we sense them. Most of the research we do is at night. Usually when people are not in the water at all.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Is it just us? Because I feel like we've been reporting on shark sightings every week here on the New Jersey Morning Show, that there's a higher volume nowadays with sharks in our waters, or is it just a coincidence?
Well, sharks are always here, and it's important to realize that healthy shark populations mean healthy oceans. So the more sharks are around, the more that means there's bigger prey items around. There's a lot of healthy fish around. So it's sharks have always been here. I think people are more aware, and it becomes a little bit more with social media, people reporting it more often than not. It's important to realize that sharks are here and that they're always around.
So, Keith, how do you guys, I mean, we were just looking at some of those pictures. I mean, some of those animals are massive. I mean, how do you get them out of the water?
Yeah, so actually the research that we're doing revolves around land-based shark fishing. So, and this is fishermen that are catching sharks and dragging them up on the beach. So we're actually looking to see if the sharks are surviving these types of events. Because when you bring up a shark on shore, it's getting exposed to sand. There's air exposure. They're getting sand in their gills. So the equipment that we're using is actually, and working with fishermen, we're looking to see if these sharks are surviving these events. You can see in that picture right there is a blue stretcher. That's like a AZA zoo certified stretcher that we sometimes use, where we go in the water, we put the shark into the stretcher, and then we carry it out of the water that way.
Oh my God. How did you get into this line of work?
Well, I'm actually a fishery biologist. Before this, I study sturgeon, which is another big fish. But moving to the Jersey Shore 6 years ago now, I realized that this is an important area for sharks, and no one's really studying or doing anything with them. So I just started doing it. And it's important to realize that Monmouth's actually an undergraduate-only university. So these are all undergraduate students that are experiencing this the first time themselves as too. So it's really hopefully making lifelong impacts on these students.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith, really fast before we let you go, just what should the average person do should they encounter a shark, and I know you said they're mostly out at night. They're none too interested in us in general. Odds are that you're probably safe. But should you run into one, what do you do?
Well, for starters, a lot of these sharks are feeding during dawn and dusk, so don't go in the water when it's low light conditions. Obviously, if you see a fin in the water, get out of the water. That's always a smart thing to do. But just be aware of your surroundings, and if you see like prey fish in the water, get out. But most of these sharks aren't there to bite us. If they do anything, it might be an exploratory thing where they might bump you. So maybe hit it back and get out of the water as quick as you can. But again, most of these sharks aren't here to bite us or doing. They're fish eaters. They've been around here the whole time. I'm sure you've seen those pictures in Florida where you see the sharks swimming around, 100 swim bathers.
Yeah.
What happens in Jersey, you can't really see anything around that.
No.
Well, you know what? The water has looked pretty good the last few years, and especially, unfortunately since the pandemic, but it wasn't like that. The water got very clear last summer.
Yeah, the water is very nice around here right now.
Yeah, it is. Listen, Keith, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this wonderful work. I love science and the natural sciences, and I love to see the Jersey Shore being taken care of. So thank you again. We have a link to your research on our website, njonair.com. Keith, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.